What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Grind Force Gaming. Nova here with another Street Fighter Duel video, and we are doing another fighter review today. If you guys didn't see the recent video that we put out, it's all about how the meta is shifting. It's an amazing video. Dascat and I really break down the underlying trend here as far as like fighters are concerned in the way that we're seeing events work and everything. Definitely watch it. Card up here at the top for you guys. The reason I bring that up is because that plays into my review of this new fighter. And I've been waiting to do this review, honestly, because Witch Juri is kind of a difficult fighter to explain, and there's a lot going on here to unpack. So let's just hop into the skills real quick. On her super, she's doing some pretty solid damage. She's inflicting weaken, and she has an increase in crit rate if she's in her Bloody Wings Feng Shui engine state. So this is the whole like thing with her kit, is this like converted state. So it's similar. It's like a transformation thing. It's similar to like what we see with Nero and Dante and Virgil, I suppose. But, you know, she's free to play, so I think this is a more approachable look to this. So basically the way that this works is she's going to lose her max HP equal to 5% of her current HP every second. She gains 15% lifesteal, 15% attack, 15% damage reduction, and 100% effect accuracy. So she's going to be inflicting weaken, like for sure. This is a really cool mechanic that's going on here. She's also going to be filling the super combo gauge. Now, we talked about this in another video too. Speed is everything right now. All these new fighters manipulate speed in some way, whether it's gaining speed for your team, or in Mummy Dalsim's case, and even Fashion Ken's case, draining the speed and taking away from the combo gauge of the other enemy team. This is just the similar trend right now. Everything's moving to speed, and these two fighters, Witch Juri and Fashion Ken, are both going to be single target damage for you. So I made another video about Fashion Ken. You can check that out. I'll put a card here at the top for you guys, where I just kind of picked holes in, you know, what everyone's been saying about him, where everyone's like super hyped about his kit, saying he's really good. I don't think it's there yet. I think we're missing his team, but you can watch the video on that and get my take on it. I still stand by it. I think he's going to be purely boss, but, you know, like I said, I don't think that he has his team yet. But this video is not about Fashion Ken. So let's move over to the passive. So basically the way that this works, how you get this Feng Shui engine to come up is you have to take fatal damage. So she's going to resurrect herself, just like the other transformations that we see with the other fighters I mentioned before. She's going to come back one time. She can do this one time. When you get this leveled up, while she's going into her transformation state, it takes 5 seconds. She like clings to the wall like a bat. There's no damage taken by her, no control. She's immune to all of that, so that's really awesome. Her C2 is the other one that you'll use. You'll probably use her as a super and a C2. Honestly, that's pretty ideal because I see her pairing extremely well with fighters like Sagat, because he has incredible survivability and he's got an amazing C3 for bosses. So this fits directly into that kit. So for this one, she's doing some pretty good damage. She's also dealing some initial true damage based on the target's lost HP. So her C1, you know, we can look at it. I don't think that you're going to use it. I suppose maybe you could alternate a little bit, but I don't know why you would. I think she's straight up just super C2. If we go into her fighting spirit, she gains so her initial increase in damage and damage reduction are now heightened. So now it's 25% for both, and it ends up becoming 35% on her FS20. So when she's in 10, she gains 100% increased effect resist, which is really cool. And then also at FS30, she no longer has her HP taken away from her. This is amazing, right? Because if you guys remember in her passive, when she does her transformation, she will lose 5% of her current HP every second. So once you get to FS30, she no longer loses that HP. So she just has crazy lifesteal with no deficit coming to her from her kit at all. Her garage is also really, really interesting. We don't see this with any other fighter in the game right now, where the game is almost like, it's almost making you play manual. Okay, with everything else, you can just run auto for the most part. I mean, you can run manual too, and you can alternate skills with other people. We see that often with like fighters like Adon and that kind of thing. But with her, she actually gains on her 3 out of 3. She gains a C3. You can see her kit. She does not have a C3 available to her. But if you have 3 out of 3 vehicles, you get a C3 that you can use one time per battle after 15 seconds have passed. Pretty interesting. You have to go into manual to do it. I tried to put her in a team with no C3 and slot her for just her super, somebody else for C1, somebody else for C2, just to see if the C3 would automatically trigger. It doesn't. You have to go into manual and you have to do it yourself. But it puts her into the feng shui state only for the attack. She doesn't stay in it, just for the attack. So she gets a bunch more damage output just for that one instance. And you can only do it once per battle, like I said. And she gets a heightened level of lifesteal. So if you do see her getting a little bit weak, it's just kind of like a little trick in the bag for you. You see her getting a little weak. You just want to make sure she stays alive before she does her initial transformation in the first place. You can swap and use that C3 just to give her a little bit of a boost in lifesteal. This is going to be incredible for boss fights. So what I'd like to do now that we've gone over all of that is let's just hop into the trial, and we're going to do 2 of these fights. We're going to do this one here because there's a Sagat. So he's going to be a little bit tough to take down. You'll be able to see good functionality of her. We'll put in Abel, and let's just do Decapre. And yeah, we'll just throw in Cammy here. Okay, so we're just going to run this setup here. So Super C2, Cammy will be there. What I want you guys to do is just take a look at her damage overall. Okay, this is in 2x. So she's doing pretty solid chunks of damage here against Sagat. And we know that Sagat's very difficult to take down. He's going to heal there again. So when we see this next super come around, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap the combo chain here, and you'll see what I'm saying. So she's a super C2 fighter, but we're going to do this, Cammy, and look at this. C3 pops up. So she goes into that status. You can see the wings like pop up to indicate that that's happening, but you can only do that once per battle, and you have to do it in manual. It's pretty crazy. So she's actually transforming right now. You can see that's going on behind Abel. She drops down because that means she took fatal damage. So now she's in the feng shui state permanently. It's amazing. I think utilizing her against bosses with other fighters that are really, really heavily based on survivability is going to make her incredible. Look at all this healing she's doing here when she's doing these attacks. She's healing herself. So she's really she just countered Evil Ryu, or Mad Ryu rather, entirely on that hit. He did not do any damage to her. Pretty awesome. The other fight that we can do to test her out that's really good is this one here, because we have Gouken. And this is a really ideal one to do testing in, because Gouken's really hard to take down. You've got Genin here who's doing a lot of damage, and also he's got his shadow form. And then we've got Sea Viper here who's doing the backline nuking. So you can see whether or not she's going to hold up. And this is a pretty solid team to be able to put together for her, honestly. It's amazing to have this good of a team available for one of these fights. Typically, the game does not allow us to have this much awesomeness on one team in trials, but we do this time around, so let's definitely utilize it for testing. I'm just going to leave this in auto. We'll leave it in 2x, and we'll just watch this play out. So ideally what we'll see here is that Sea Viper will end up just nuking her, but then we're going to see a lot of healing coming in from her, and you'll see that this is just an insanely difficult team to take down, even against a Gouken. So I'm pretty excited about this fighter release, to be honest. Fashion Ken didn't shine in the trials, and I think that's because he is truly just a boss fighting option. But I mean, look at this. This is insane. She's doing such an amazing amount of damage. Bison did a ton. She didn't do that much this time around. Let's run that one back. I've had some different outcomes with this fight, so I would say definitely try these out a few times yourself as well, because they're never the same. There's a lot of RNG involved in these, but I just think that there's going to be good usability for her in PvP as well. I don't know so much about, a use case for her in PvE, but, it's possible, I suppose. But I think that she's going to do extremely well with bosses, especially if you pair her with Gouken and you pair her with Sagat. That's just going to be a team that's going to be really difficult to take down, because if she resurrects herself, takes fatal damage again, I can only imagine that Gouken's going to just bring her back. And I can't say for sure. I don't know if his thing will trigger on her first time, but if it doesn't, that means that she's going to resurrect twice. Okay, so we're looking at a different game style here. Okay, so she just went into her form because she got nuked. Guys, it's amazing. I think that she's a really good fighter, and I don't know if I would say that priority has changed I think that you still want to be getting Bison and Sagat. But I mean, honestly, if we look at this lineup here, Bison's first. I think Sagat is second for divination priority. You could maybe, I don't know. It's tough to say. I still think that Summer Ibuki is extremely good, and you're going to want to be pulling for her. But you could make the argument, I think, at this stage that Witch Juri would be a good option too, because we are shifting more into a boss meta right now anyway. And if you want good rewards, you need to place high in these events. So whichever one is going to do the best for you, I guess between those two, based on the teams that you already have built, that's going to be the priority. But I'm pretty excited about her release, and I'm pretty excited to start drawing for her, because I think that she's going to do incredible work in these boss fights. Like, I can only imagine how well she would do at this stage, because staying alive during boss fights and having lifesteal like that, it's amazing. So anyway, guys, that's going to be the conclusion of my review of Witch Juri. I think that she's pretty good. I'm very excited to get her as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you want to join our Discord, we have the link in our description here and also in our bio. We'd love to have you guys hop in. You can chat with us about the game. Stay tuned for more videos. Don't forget to subscribe, throw a like on it as well. Cheers.